Hi! During this video, we are going to start working with data in R. More specifically, we will explore some ways of creating some basic data objects. To get started, I'm going to assume that you are continuing from the previous video, in which case you should already have RStudio open. If that is the case, go to the pane on the bottom right and select the Files tab. Then, click on the link for O2, Creating, Importing, and Getting Data.R. This script file will appear in a new tab in the source pane on the upper left. If you do not already have RStudio, open up your file manager, go to the directory in which you have saved your R script files, and double-click on the name of the file. In the script file, I have provided some sample commands for creating data objects. Starting with the basics, the command for creating a vector is C, where C stands for combine, since you are combining a series of discrete pieces of data into an object. As you may recall, vectors may only include a single mode of data, so I'm creating two vectors, V letters, which contains the letters A through F, and V numbers, which contains a series of integers. In the latter command, I have used the notation 3:6 to represent the range of 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, commands aren't very useful unless you can actually execute them. To execute commands from the source pane, position your cursor on the line that you want to execute, and then click on the Run icon at the top of the pane. If you want to execute multiple lines of code in the script file, select those lines in their entirety before clicking on the Run icon. If you don't like using the Run icon, you can also use the Control-Enter key combination instead. When you execute commands, you may notice a few things happening. For starters, you will see the commands executed below in the console pane. Next, go to the Environment and History pane on the upper right and select the Environment tab. Whatever objects you created by executing the commands will now be listed. Now, click on the History tab. Your commands will now be listed in the console. Let's now say that you want to reuse a command that you've already executed, or perhaps create a command that is similar but not quite the same. In your list of commands on the History tab, click on the command. At the top of the pane, you should see a couple of icons. To Console will copy the command to your console pane, while To Source will copy it to your source pane. You can then execute the command as is, or first edit it to meet your needs. In the console pane, there's another way of achieving the same thing. Begin by clicking in the pane. Then, on your keyboard, repeatedly press the upward pointing arrow. Starting with the most recent, RStudio will pull up your previously executed commands. Now, after that brief detour, let's continue with the subject of how to create data objects. As noted before, vectors may only contain one mode of data. If you try to combine dissimilar modes, R will forcibly convert all the values to a single mode. Take, for example, the next command, which tries to combine our two previous vectors, one with letters and one with integers, into a single vector. When you display this new vector, you see that R has simply converted the integers into characters, thereby ensuring that the vector contains just one mode. In the next command in the source pane, we use the V letters and V numbers vectors to create a data frame with two columns. Somewhat predictably, the columns are named letters and numbers. Although I won't be talking much about matrices in these videos, I did at least want to provide an example of a command used for creating a matrix. In the example provided in the script file, we create a matrix with two columns. The first column contains the integers 1 through 10, while the second column contains the square roots of the numbers in the first column. So there you go. These are the basics of how to create data objects. But wouldn't it be easier just to use pre-existing data sets? We'll talk about that in the next video.